The world is changing, and the need to be prepared for eventuality is a necessity. Climate change, hurricane, catastrophe in different natures are unknown to the African market. It's not that they are immune from it, but at least the last few years, there has not been any large-scale catastrophic losses in this region. Riot and civil war, yes, we do have a bit of that from time to time, and I know some of you want to ask me, what's the situation with the riots in Nigeria? I'm happy to say that it's over with us there. Work resumed today in the country after 7 days of work, of general strike, resulting from the increase in the pump price of petroleum products. Bomb blasts and kidnapping are risks that needs to be provided for and covered. Terrorist attack are some of the eventualities of today's world that insurance needs to live up to. Economic crisis, declining economic growth, and political changes are also issues that insurers need to grapple with as we move forward. The African insurance market offers good prospects for future investment in the region. The market underwriting results remain relatively good and produce comparatively high returns on investments. The performance and credit rating of Africa Re is a testimony to the market potentials in the continent. With the exception of South Africa, the North and South Africa, Takaful insurance is largely unknown in many of the African markets, and I think this is a very gray area that investors can drive through. By way of acknowledgement and reference, I'd like to acknowledge the work of a good big sister of mine, Ms. P.M.G. Suarez, who is the Secretary General of African Insurance Organization, whose work on a similar paper I have used in this presentation, and I'd like to recognize her. I know some of you will know Ms. Suarez. She's 60 today, and I think we want to wish her a happy birthday. The next person is Mr. Adewale Adewusi, who is an Assistant Director in charge of retrocession, research, and statistics at the Africa Re. He also did an extensive study on some of these developments in the African market, which I like to acknowledge. I found one of my very old boss, Mr. E.W. Zafu, in the audience yesterday. I don't know where he is this morning, but I also like to recognize him. I met him very early in my career, and it was quite encouraging for young people like me to stay in insurance. And I feel very, very grateful and happy to find him in the audience today. He used to be the Managing Director General of Africa Re, and now technical advisor to the United Insurance Company in Ethiopia. I've been told that I have limited time because the previous speaker is not here, and I'll just ask to quickly come up and do my presentation. So on this note, I would like to thank you for your audience, and I'll be open to questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fatai. It was a wonderful presentation, and I should say that it was an insight to Africa from a person who is practicing insurers. So it's good always to see from outside the world, and it's always good also to know something from the person who is in that particular region. So that was very inspiring for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, we can ask questions if you feel free, anything related to his subject or related to his region, which will be beneficial for everyone of us. Thank you. Please give your name and the company you represent, please, sir.
Bernard Bell is my name. I'm from Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda. Thank you very much for that presentation. But I wanted you to throw more light on the issue of consumer education. Because in our market, we have discovered that it is very difficult to leave the idea of consumer education to individual companies to undertake that. The public needs to be aware about the insurance products and the benefits of the insurance products. I don't know what strategy you are using in Nigeria to make the public aware. You know, we are trying to use that as a strategy to improve on the image of the insurance sector and to make people aware both in the short term and in the long term. Secondly, I also wanted you to throw more light on the issue of premium undercutting. You talked of competition. How are you trying to grapple with that challenge of undercutting of premiums, which has been quite rampant in the East African part of, which has been rampant in East Africa? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On the issue of consumer education, what we are doing in the Nigerian market is to get all the arms of the industry involved in this education. In the short term, we have the National Insurance Commission, which is the regulatory body like yours, sponsoring advertisements, promotional materials on insurance in the entire market. We also have the Nigerian Insurance Association, which is an umbrella body for all insurance companies in the market, coming together to contribute funds to do mass promotion, mass awareness, mass education of the populace about insurance. And I think on the third front, we have the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, which has recently penetrated the Ministry of Education in that country. And we're trying to introduce insurance as a subject at the secondary school level. I think that's the equivalent we have here. So that when people become aware, rather than have insurance as part of commerce at the secondary school level, you try to build the consciousness of insurance into people's life from the beginning. And by the time they become adults, they will appreciate why and what form of insurance is needed to protect themselves. The issue of premium undercutting is a reflection of the proliferation of insurance companies in most of the markets. I won't limit that to Africa because if you have 60 companies in UAE, obviously you will have to cut each other to be able to take advantage of the business. What we have done in Nigeria is to have an understanding. We have what we call memorandum of understanding. Very difficult to execute, but at least we all sat together after a lengthy weekend discussion to agree on some modalities or pricing for very large risks in the market. And we have an average risk level. We also have the reinsurance companies in that market providing support to the local market by insisting that rates below a given level will not be acceptable to the reinsurer unless you want to provide cover or secure insurance by paying premium from your own resources rather than from the premium you have collected. I think these are the two things we are doing in that market to fight this rate cutting. We call it rate cutting or undercutting of pricing of insurance business in Nigeria. Thank you.
Will you please just tell your name and the company you represent?
My name is M.K. Rao from India Assurance Company, Kenya. So, Mr. Lawal, thank you very much for your presentation, giving the details and detailed insight into African market. I, a person being from East African insurance market, I request you to explain the challenge being faced in the western region of Africa in respect of the premium collection. As you mentioned, the biggest challenge in the African market is the premium collection. Because even in East Africa, we have been facing the biggest challenge is the premium collection. In many companies, I have seen the premium is outstanding for more than 10 years, even as long as 10 years, and causing a huge havoc in cash collection, cash flow problems. So how, being a person from Western insurance market, Western Africa insurance market. Please explain the situation in western part of Africa about the collection challenges being faced by the insurance companies in western region of the Africa.
Thank you. I think I explained earlier that the issue of premium, or what I call, I tried to avoid using those local language, but premium undercutting and premium collections were reflections of the insurance industry itself. What you find out is that the man who wants to insure his car, at the point of purchase of that car, he has to pay 100%. In most of these markets, where you are not on hire purchase, in fact, hire purchase in Nigeria represent less than 10% of the number of cars that people purchase. People virtually have to pay 100% cash to buy a car. And to pay the insurance premium that represents sometimes between 5 and 10% becomes very, very difficult. And we tend to condone it because we give the cover on the assumption that if you don't, somebody else will. But if all of us decide not to give that cover without collecting premium, I'm sure this problem will be a thing of the past. I think my campaign is that it should be something that should be driven by the collective will of the companies in the market so that they can stay alive together. If you compete against one another and you don't collect the premium, most of your outflow you have to pay cash for. Most cases, you cannot buy petrol, you cannot pay staff with debit notes. You have to pay in cash. And I think it's a survival issue, and I believe that what the markets should do is to come together and reach an agreement that is enforceable among themselves to the effect that premium should be paid before cover is granted. And I think that is what we should be telling ourselves today. If you use mobile phone, the moment there is no credit on your phone, the thing tells you you cannot, outgoing calls are bad because you don't have money on your line. So why should you now provide cover without collecting premium? Thank you. I think before I round up, I acknowledge Mr. Zafu while making my presentation. I noticed he came in at the end of the presentation. Mr. Zafu is one of the giants of the African insurance market. He looks smaller than his size, and I would like all of us to give him a round of applause for being part of our audience today. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, that's very important. From the man who has been veteran from the industry and from your region, if he is asking question. So that becomes very important for me as a chairperson.
First of all, thank you very much indeed for the perhaps even undeserved recognition that you have given me. I'm very, very grateful. My name is Zafu, Jesus Zafu from Ethiopia. It's never late. It's never too late to do the right thing. And whilst I was in Nigeria, and I cannot quote the article and the page, but I do remember that there was such a thing as no premium, no cover in the Nigerian market. A principle which I have also been trying to advocate in my own market in Ethiopia. And as a matter of fact, just about 12 days ago, a revised draft of the insurance law in Ethiopia had been tabled at Parliament, which I had the distinct privilege of going through and through it. And in it, there is such a thing as no premium, no cover, except for state insurances or government's insurance itself.